Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. My name is Femke and today I am here with the mid-year book freakout tag. So we're already halfway through 2018 and today I thought I would share with you the 2018 mid-year book freakout tag. Since it is our, Esmay and mine, our first year of booktubing, we haven't done any other mid-year book freakout tags, but I'm really looking forward to this one. So the first question is, what is the best book you've read so far in 2018? And I feel like there are two picks for this. The first one I don't actually have here right now because Esmay is borrowing it, but that is, I'll show you here, The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. I really love this book. I really love the setting, the kind of desert-y setting. I love the magic in there. I loved the world building. I love the characters. So that is definitely a contender for best book of 2018. The second book is Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins. Shame on me, but I actually only fully read the Hunger Games series trilogy this year. I finished the series last month. So I am very late to the hype. But nonetheless, I really loved the books, and Mockingjay especially. I really loved the darkness in it, how desperate and how dark it felt at times. And I really admire that Suzanne dared to do this. Because I feel like a lot of the times, especially young adult books, are kind of overly happy and they don't really dare to go dark. But Suzanne definitely had no problems with that. The next question is, best sequel you've read so far in 2018? Well, obviously, as I mentioned, Mockingjay. In addition, also, probably Hero at the Fall by Elwyn Hamilton. I have been reading this series since it came out with Rebel in the Sands a few years ago. So I was really looking forward to finding out how it ended. And I think Elwyn did such a good job wrapping up this series. I mean, it was war, it was bloody, people died, other people survived. They were desperate, but they were also reluctantly happy, and I really loved this book. Which is why I think it is probably one of the best sequels of this year. The next question is, are there any new releases you haven't read yet but want to? I want to say plenty, but I'm just going to stick with one book because otherwise we'll still be here tomorrow. The sequel that I really want to read but haven't had time for is Legendary, which is the second book in the Caraval series by Stephanie Garber. Esmay already read this. Esmay was raving about it. Esmay loved it. I probably will too. I loved Caraval. And I'm really excited to see how this story continues. The fourth question is the most anticipated release for the second half of 2018. Muse of Nightmares. Without a doubt. It comes out a week before my birthday, so it is going to be the perfect birthday gift. I mean, there are so many good books coming out, and except for Muse of Nightmares, I'm also really excited for the release of All the Wandering Light by Heather Fawcett, which is the sequel to Even the Darkest Stars. I read it a few weeks ago and I was really surprised by it. It was such a good book. It was a fun read. It was sassy. It was witty. It had my heart racing, and like one of the final plot twists, I was like, oh no you didn't. But she did, so I really just need the second book. But hey, it's not going to be out until September, which is actually only like 2 months away, so it'll be fine. The next question is the biggest disappointment. Ooh. That is a tough one. If I am going to have to name one, I am going to probably pick The Cruel Prince. And that is not to say that I didn't like it, but I think it was entirely overhyped. I liked the book and I like the characters, but I felt like the hype made the book to be so much better than it was, especially for me. And like I said, I'm not saying I hated it, and if you love it, that's totally fine, but I wasn't blown away by it. Another book which had me very disappointed is A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. This book, novella, it's tiny. It just, I hoped for more, but there just wasn't. I mean, it was just a story about people living together and cooking and eating, and I was just kind of meh. I was like, but I hoped there to be more, but there wasn't, so ergo, disappointment. The next question of this list is the biggest surprise. And I actually have 2 mentions for this question, as I have with most of the questions, but we don't talk about that. The first one I already briefly mentioned, and that is Even the Darkest Stars by Heather Fawcett. As I mentioned, I was really surprised by how much I liked this book. I'd heard a lot of good stories about it, and I expected to like it, but I didn't quite expect to love it as much as I did. So that was a very good surprise for me, because I'm now really excited for the sequel. The second book that really surprised me is The Wicked Deep by Shia Earnshaw. I expected to like this, and when I started reading it, I was kind of unpleasantly surprised that it was set in modern day America. But then I read the book and I was completely blown away by it. I really, really enjoyed this book despite it being in modern day America. It has such a beautiful and spooky and haunting setting, and the characters are so memorable that it blew me away. And I was really surprised by this. After being unpleasantly surprised, I was very pleasantly surprised. The next question is favorite new author. If we're going for an author that is like new to me, I am going to go for Kristen Ciccarelli from The Last Namzara, because I also really like The Last Namzara, and I love Kristen's storytelling. Like, it was fast-paced and it was action-packed, but at the same time I felt like it was also such a lush language and it's such a beautiful world building that I think this is one of my favorite new authors, or at least new to me, because I'm not sure whether she has written more books. The 8th question is the newest fictional crush. I'd say that I crush on a lot of characters, but if we're going for wit and everything, I'm probably going to have to say River Shara from Even the Darkest Stars. I really liked Kamzin and River's banter in the book, and it resonated within me because that is something that I really like, just nice banter with someone. The other one would be Okami from Flame in the Mist, Smoke in the Sun, but that's not really a newest crush, that's just a renewed crush. The next question is the newest favorite character. Why are all these questions so tough? For newest favorite character, I am going to go with Leah from The Kiss of Deception, because Leah stands up for herself, Leah doesn't take shit from anybody, and basically Leah is Leah, and I really admire her for that. The 10th question is a book that made you cry. Even the Darkest Stars, The Wicked Deep, Mockingjay, City of Brass, Smoke in the Sun, The Last Namzara, Hero at the Fall. There's probably more, but I'm gonna just keep it at that. Question 11 is a book that made you happy. I think reading in general makes me happy, even if it makes me cry, unless it's a bad book. But I am going to go for Magic of Blood and Sea, because it was just, I really liked this world building. It was a pleasant surprise. It wasn't too heavy. It was like heavy enough, but it wasn't too bad. I liked the characters. even though I wished they, would have admitted their feelings sooner, but in general, this is, for me, just a very happy and nice story. The next question is a favorite book to movie adaptation you saw this year. I watched Game of Thrones. I think I'm gonna go with Game of Thrones because I really love Game of Thrones, obviously. I mean, if you haven't spotted my Daenerys Funko Pops. The 13th question is favorite review you've written this year. I kind of just like all of my reviews, but I'm pretty sure there's one of a text I had to read for a university course, which I gave 1 star, and my review was literally like, no, period. So, I did not like that. I don't remember what it was, but still. The next question is the most beautiful book you bought this year. I'm a sucker for pretty books, so I'm going to go for a book that I have not mentioned before, because there's obviously some books that I really love but I already mentioned before. So to keep this video a little bit original, I'm going to go with The Queens of Innis Lair by Tessa Gratton. I really love this UK cover with the shiny flowers and everything on it. Up next is the question, what book do you need to read by the end of the year? Which also is the final question. What book do I need to read? Well, Muse of Nightmares, as mentioned before. Esmay is probably going to make me read Heart of Betrayal and The Beauty of Darkness by Mary E. Pearson as well. And I think those are like the foremost books that I actually need to read by the end of the year. So that was it for the mid-year book freakout tag. If you like what you saw, comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you'll be notified whenever Esmay or I post. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye!